Good afternoon, ladies and gents. How are we doing today? It is a beautiful sunny afternoon here, man. I am short on time today. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to have a quick revisit. I've done some new samples on the Benchtop finish for an MDF Workbench top, basically. Yeah, we had a few questions last time, so I wanted to address them. Done a few different samples, put some extra bits in there, and we'll see how they work out. All right, cool, let's go. Rightio then, so yeah, like I said, man, beautiful sunshine outside, not something we get very much of in the UK here, so I've got meat on the smoker at home, so I have got to be quick fast, man, because I don't want that to wreck. I'll tell you what, right, so I've got a gammon joint, so like a ham, some beef on there, and some pork. And we're not going to do like pulled pork and pulled brisket and all that sort of stuff. We're going to cook it long enough. So, and I bought, get this right, so we have loads of sandwiches here, so I bought a nice meat slicer. So I'm cooking it so that it's still like, it's real nice smoky flavour, but it will still be firm enough so that we can chill it, slice it, and then I've got homemade meat for sandwiches, man. Homemade smoked meat. It's going to be awesome. Right then, so I'm starving. You will have to bear with me. It's been a mega long week. It is Saturday. I'm tired. But I think we've got this sorted out, right? I think I've got a good option with this. Right, so let's have a look. So what did we do? So last time we went through and I did all of these samples on some 80mm MDF. Got a whole bunch from here, look. Basically, we went through, had a look, and saw which ones stood up better to a water-based stain, water, and to a solvent-based stain. So we did the same thing again today. There were a couple of questions. Number one, I don't think the oil-based varnish, which is this one, I think, yeah, the oil-based poly, I don't think that cured correctly because it was mega cold in here. So we've redone that one. There was a Treatex mentioned that they didn't think I applied it correctly, so we've applied it correctly, I hope this time, so we'll see. A couple questions about why I didn't use shellac, and the simple answer is I forgot. When I did them, I was like, oh, there's a spare bit. No, I forgot, didn't I? So that's that, but so we've got shellac. So this time we've got the hard wax, the Treatex. We have a spray lacquer, so I thought I'd try and do a spray lacquer this time. I'll tell you what, man, that soaked in no end. That did. We have Danish Oil, the good and simple. We've got a shellac with a wax on it, and just a shellac on its own. I thought that'd be interesting to see whether wax gives it any, helps it stand up better. That's what I'm trying to say. Fired. And obviously we've got a control here. So we'll do the same thing as what we did before. I will pause the camera. I'm going to set everything out, mark it all out. We'll drop the camera down. I'll drop the water on. I'll drop the solvent-based finish and the water-based finish. Well, water-based, and then I'll do the solvent. And oh, another comment we had last time was that I left it on there for too long, which I can sort of understand. If you're, the way I look at it is if you're staining something, you might drip a bit off and not see it. So we'll leave it on there for maybe a count of 5, and then we'll take it off. Right then, so I've got lined all up. I forgot I've got an oil-based poly here as well. So we've got the Control, Danish, Shellac plus wax, a spray lacquer, Treatex, and the oil-based poly. Now, I wonder, the Treatex has soaked in differently to what it did the last time. So I'm wondering if it's something to do with maybe the type of MDF. What do you think? I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another one of these videos with all the finishes I've tried, and what we'll do is we'll do them on standard MDF and we'll do them on moisture resistant MDF, and we'll see if they react differently, because I'd be interested to know whether the moisture resistant MDF doesn't work as well with the water based poly, because the water's not going to soak into it. I wonder whether the oils will soak into it the same. Yeah, I think that'd be interesting as well, wouldn't it, don't you? I mean, well, let me know below, eh? And we'll have a look at it. But I know I said I was going to wipe them off straight away, but I don't really want to. I want to see how long it takes before they start to go. I mean, the water's still sat on the top, so I would imagine the stain's still going to sit on the top. Sort of sticking to the oil based, the poly. Oh yeah, I got it off now though. Cool, so obviously MDF, right? That's what happens if you don't have a thingy. The Danish Oil's got a little bit of a tint to it, but most of it's been wiped off, which is a little bit of a surprise because the last one did really well. Shellac came off not too bad. With the wax is a little bit better. The spray lacquer, again, that's fine. I think with a little bit of a scrub down, they'd be fine. So let's do the solvent based. And yeah, give me 2 seconds, we'll get everything lined up and then we'll go back and we'll try the solvent based. Okay, so as it stands then, all of them are good for water and water-based stains. So the big kicker is going to come when we try solvent-based stuff. So okie dokie then, right, so what I've done is I've got the originals, the 4 originals on here to see whether there's a bit of a difference. And I think there is a bit of a difference. I think that MDF colour is slightly different, so I'm wondering if this isn't made out MDF. Regardless, it's pretty much shaped in exactly the same as it did on the original control. This is the Danish Oil, so this gave us the best finish last time. And it's given us a relatively good finish this time. As you can see, well, you can see the difference here yourself. Look. So the stain has sucked into the MDF more, but now I'm wondering if that's maybe got more to do. God, man, there's so many variables, right? So whether it's the heat, because I applied it when it was cooler, so maybe. Well, the originals I applied when it was cooler, so when I did this stuff it was warmer, it was like 17, 18 degrees, and this stuff it was like 2, so maybe because it was cooler it sat on the surface more, and because it was warmer maybe it's drier, maybe there's less humidity in the air so it's sucked into the board a little bit more. That's interesting. The shellac turned out pretty nice considering, a bit of staining but not bad. The shellac and the wax, I think the wax maybe doesn't improve the matter, if anything really. I think you're probably just better off with the shellac on that one. The spray lacquer, it's not done too bad, but there's a, like, obviously I don't know if you can hear that, but it's quite rough and it's quite smooth. I think the solvents have started to dissolve the lacquer finish, so I would imagine if you were to leave it on there for much longer, it would eat through that. The Treatex hard wax oil, you can see that it has sort of stained it, but again, I wonder whether that's the surface of the MDF. But compared to how it was when I applied it badly, it's okay. So that's interesting. So you can see here, this is where the spot was where the solvent had started to dissolve it last time, and there's no spot. So we've got a little bit of staining on there because obviously it's stained, but it's not starting to dissolve the finish. So that, I'm quite pleased with that really. And this is the water-based poly. You can see here where it started to dissolve the stain. Obviously this, I don't think had enough time to cure. This was done again when it was cold, and we left it to cure overnight, but I think because the temperature was too low. So I guess there's something to take from that, right? And that would be, if you're going to be applying your finish in a low temperature, you don't want to be chucking that oil-based poly on because it's not going to cure correctly. But I don't know if you, well, you can't see because I can barely see, but there is a small area where I applied that solvent-based finish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chuck the finishes on, or chuck the solvent on, leave it for maybe 5 minutes and come back and see whether it's eaten through anything, and then we'll have another look. Apologies guys, because I just thought I'd hit record, but clearly I hadn't. So I've just been wiping them off, and I think the results are quite interesting. I don't really know what it means, but they are quite interesting. So, tell you what I'll do is I'll show you the results, I'll say what I think, and then you guys can let me know in the comments how much of a rubbish test you think I did. Alright then, so yeah, I'm really confused, but it's an experiment, right? And any result is a good result, so it wouldn't be, well, I mean, it's experimentation, right? So we're trying to figure something out. So, Danish, obviously, control, right? Sank in. Yeah, no real difference there. And I did check, I have been and had a look at this, because this is all offcuts from like a job like a long time ago. And this is Medite. So I wonder whether maybe it's just had a long time to sit and dry out and it's sucking in more of the moisture, I don't know. This is the Danish Oil. So, the original one, and the one I've done this week. And this was the surprise last time. I thought this was the perfect thing to use. Now, you can definitely see, this is the original one. There's not really a huge amount of pigment that's soaked in here, and here, there's loads, man. Especially this one that we left on for 5 minutes. That's really interesting. I don't know what it means, but it's really interesting. The shellac, you can see we've got a bit of staining, but it's not massively finished, not ruined the finish massively. Do you know what I wonder? Oh, I've just chucked stain all over. Wait there 2 minutes. Okay, so something I wanted to try quickly is where that solvent sat. I want to see if it's completely removed the finish from the surface of the timber, but it hasn't. So what does that tell us? That tells me, I think what it's doing is I think it's finding some way for that stain to get into the timber. But look, I don't know if you can see that. Oh, it's still beading on the top. So it's not fully dissolving the, it's not fully dissolving it, but there's no, it doesn't raise, the grain isn't raised like it would do normally. So I suppose for water-based finishes, everything is a good option really. Okay, so let's finish showing you all of this. Let me dry these off and then we'll run through them. Okay then, right, so starting at this end, that's the control, all messed up. This is the Danish Oil. I don't know what's happened, but something different has happened here, which is always good. This is the shellac, so it's obviously penetrated the wood a little bit, so it's managed to get through the shellac, so it must have dissolved it somehow. The shellac and the wax. So this is standard shellac, this is with the wax. I think the wax has done nothing to help the matter. Spray lacquer, you can see it started to dissolve the lacquer finish on the top there. You've got quite a lot of dark spots in there where the stain's penetrated. The Treatex, the original Treatex and the new Treatex, the surface is still fine. That's just pigment left over from the stain. I don't think that's probably the way I've wiped it up. I don't think that's anything to do with Treatex. And put them that way and that way. But it's worth noting, let me put them around the other way. It's worth noting the way that they told me to apply it is a million times better than the way I was doing before. So always read the instructions. And this is the original oil-based poly. This is the one that I've done this week. It's had a long time to cure. You can see here it completely ate through the top of the surface, and on here it started to. So that really surprises me, to be honest. But then it surprised me in the first video, I think. So yeah, so oil-based poly, not necessarily the best thing. And I always thought it was pretty impervious to everything, but I guess not. So, we'll give you a quick run past them, and then you guys can let me know what you think I did wrong, because I definitely did something wrong. Definitely. Here we go. Controls, Danish original, new Danish, shellac and wax. I definitely think you're better off without the wax. Spray lacquer, Treatex original, well, the original one that I did, and then the new one. Perfect finish in that. The original Danish Oil, the original oil-based poly, sorry, and the one that I've done this week. You can see it's starting to eat through. So yeah, so what does that mean? It means I need to do more experiments, and I need to find out why the Danish Oil didn't work this time and it was the best one originally. And I also need to find out if I put another couple coats on the Treatex, is that going to stop the issues I've got with the pigment? Because I don't really think it's the Treatex's fault. I have a feeling it's still my application. Maybe it's because it's MDF. Maybe certain oils are soaking in, maybe others aren't. What do you think, more to the point? What do you think I did right? What do you think I did wrong? Because the last video, there was a couple of people who said about the curing times, temperatures and all that sort of stuff, which was one of the main reasons for doing this other video. So yeah, I mean, in my opinion, oil-based poly's out. I think that's no good for nothing. I think Treatex is the best option. The spray lacquer, this is like 6 coats just to get this rubbishy, you can see how, I don't know, you might be able to see how blotchy that is. 6 coats to get that, so spray lacquer is a no-go. The shellac with the wax is no bother. Danish Oil, man, I still think Danish Oil is up there. I genuinely do. Can you see how frustrated I am? I want to know why that's not worked. And obviously the control, we don't need that. So, yes, so where we're at, I put them there, you can't even see them, can you? So, Treatex, shellac, and the Danish Oil. Now, I personally think, should we do that? Seems fair, doesn't it? Because I screwed the test up somehow. I love Treatex. I don't know if you've noticed. I use it on a lot of my stuff. It's a beautiful, beautiful treatment. It's great for furniture, great for cabinets. Yeah, so this is Briarwax sanding sealer. This is 20 quid for this little bottle, which is, what, 500 mils. So I can't imagine, it's not really that much cheaper than the Treatex, and the Treatex you can do so much more with it compared to the shellac, so I think the Treatex is the best option in there. And then obviously if you want a cheap option, you want quick, rough and ready, I'd go for the Danish Oil, because even though I clearly have screwed this one up somehow, it did immensely well in the previous tests. So does that please anybody? Because all it's done is given me more questions to try and figure out what it is that I need to do. It's maybe like the humidity, temperature, moisture content of the timber, the temperature of the timber maybe. Yeah man, that's killer, that is. Regardless of all of that sort of rubbish, I think personally, if you have some shellac, use your shellac. If you have some, if you want a cheap option, or you have some Danish Oil, use Danish Oil. If you have access to Treatex, I'll be using the Treatex. But again, it's not super cheap. But it is quality. And that's what it's all about, right? Man, I'm going to be scratching my head now for the rest of the day. Regardless, let me know what you think below. I would genuinely enjoy to hear what your comments are. I think the next time I do one of these videos, we'll do it with maybe some standard MDF and some moisture resistant MDF. And then we'll chuck some, we'll do the water-based stain, the oil-based stain, and then we'll do the oil-based stain that we leave on for 5 minutes, and we'll see how that reacts. I'd be very interested to see how these treatments go onto some moisture-resistant MDF, and I have a whole stack of offcuts from the pottery bats that we did recently. So yeah, so that'll be good. Sorry, it's not a more definitive guide, guys, but yeah. Let me know what you think, eh? Oh, and if you could do me a favour, if you've enjoyed what I've done, if you like the content, hit that like button. If you really enjoy what we do, hit subscribe. And if you really enjoy what we do, hit the notification bell, and YouTube will give you a shout next time I put a video up. But yeah, so apologies for the confusing video this week. I don't think any of us are really any better off, other than knowing that I applied the Treatex poorly last time, and it's come out a lot better. Shellac is now an option, and I clearly am incapable of applying the Danish Oil properly a second time. So what are you going to do, eh? I'm going to go home, crack open a beer, and sit by the smoker for the next 3 or 4 hours, and hopefully my meat's going to be done. You have an awesome day, you take it easy, and I shall catch you on the next one. We've got beef, ham, and some pork. Oh, it's going to be tasty, eh? Beautiful.